Mr. Loudermilk. Ms. Alsop. Here. Ms. Weger.
Here.
Mr. Thacker.
Here.
Ms. Thies.
Here.
Mr. Norris.
Here.
Mr. Thompson.
So I did get contacted by Mr. Loudermilk and Thompson that they would not be able to attend here tonight. So we'll go ahead, we have a quorum, and we'll go ahead and start with communications from elected officials or other officials or agencies of the county. Commissioner Clinkenbeard.
Good evening, council members, President Thacker, Mark Clinkenbeard, Beagle County Commissioner. Just wanted to take a moment to update you on some projects, and then also update you on ARPA money that is remaining. Had that question a little bit. So first off, I thought that it was still on the agenda tonight, but it's not, which is a good thing. The courthouse generator. We have heard from the insurance company, and that is going to be covered. It looks like 100%. So we don't need to look for any appropriations right now for that. So good news there. Okay, update on the General Services Building, which is the maintenance morgue facility. We will have possession of that by July 1. Things are moving really well. We're in the process right now of ordering the morgue equipment and the things for the Sheriff's Department, the lift. Yep. So that's going really well. Looks to be on budget still, which is great news. Old jail demolition. The prefab tower building is on order. We are to have our contents emptied by July 1st so that they can start walkthroughs for bidding process July 5th. Actual demolition is scheduled to start in October or early November. I passed out an ARPA funding or funds update to you guys. I think I emailed it to you also. I'll just highlight real quick. If you look where I've highlighted in green where it says ARPA allocation, those are the amounts that are the things that have been approved and the amounts approved. Total ARPA that we were granted was $20 million, $20,080,000, and $20,800,000. Wow, these are big numbers, and I'm really struggling with this. I don't.
$20,080,516.
$516. There you go. Thank you.
Yes.
So basically, what we have remaining right now, as those things were passed, is $679,484. But Baker Tilly has informed us that some of those things can be recategorized because of some of the changes in the ARPA guidelines, and we should be able to get another $258,000 for a total of $938,000 that we should have left from this point.
And some of those we have already made recommendations that are going to be presented.
Well,
right?
one tonight, yes, and but that would be it. There are some other ones on the possibility next month that we've talked about, but only one is on the agenda for tonight, and that's the Terrell Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
So that's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions that good.
Anybody? Anybody?
I have a quick one. I had reached out, and if we do it at the next meeting or even in June, if we could have an update on how the Thrive.
I have that.
You have that
Yeah.
tonight?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
never mind. I'll let
Okay.
Mr. Thacker take care of that.
All right. Good. Thank you.
I hadn't told you I had it. Sorry about that. Yeah, both Commissioner Clinkenbeard and I sat on that, and so I can do that now, or I can do it at under committees. So since you mentioned it, we'll do it right now. So what she's talking about is they gave a presentation to City Council, and so we asked for one for County Council on the Thrive update. And I had a little difficulty getting this printed out, so I will email this to everybody. But under the Vigo County housing data, and this is to date from inception, we've had total housing unit awards 39. And of those, one of those is a rehab and 38 are single family detached. The public investment through ARPA has been $525,392. The private investment has been $7,739,539. And so of those single dwelling detached, I have a breakdown on that as well. Come on, phone. One is done by, or 18 are small builders, one that being rehab, and 20 of those are professional builders. And so this has been the overall 5-year goal is to come up with 3,250 new affordable market rate units. And upcoming from the Thrive is going to be they call it the RFP pattern book. And this is going to give us some designs that they're looking at they're going to use. They're wanting to hold a housing symposium. And then there's a site that they want to use called Hoosier Homes, and an app called Club 720. So those are some of the things that's going to be coming. So again, to recap, we had $525,392 of public money and $7,739,539 of private investment, and that is on 39 units total. So that was we have a meeting coming up next week with the steering committee, and so I didn't want to report anything unless it's what they wanted to release. So this is public information, and I will email that to everybody on the council. And I just got this right before the meeting, or I would have got it to Karen and had it part of the packet. So, any questions on that, on the Thrive?
I just want to thank you for that. It was just neat to see at the city council meeting and to see the growth that's already happened, both in the county and the city. So thank you.
Yes. Yeah, so what she said is, Todd, this is the update from the start of ARPA funding, and then so the first reward for the county ARPA was November of 23, so that's from November 23 till now. So, and then as I get more updates, I will share those. Any other elected officials or other officials or agencies of the county would like to come before council at this time?
Mr. President?
Yes.
A couple of items. The first is a resolution that was submitted by Judge Mulliken. It's a resolution that's identical to one that the council adopted back in 2022. It provides the council's support for the county's attempt to secure a 7th Superior Court from the Indiana legislature. In essence, it provides details about the workload of the Superior Courts of Vigo County, the juvenile magistrate, the 4D commissioner, and indicates that our court at the time of when she provided this was the 3rd busiest court in the state of Indiana. 3rd busiest set of courts as indicated by the weighted caseload. So if there's any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them.
Now, are you going to read that resolution to
I
us,
can,
or
yes.
did
Yeah.
we need to take action on it now or at the end of it? Or
It's-
I mean, I know it's a sunshine meeting, so do you read it tonight and then
I
we-
can read it.
Okay.
A resolution to consider the funding of an additional court. Whereas the Vigo County courts have the 3rd highest caseload in the state of Indiana, and whereas Vigo County currently operates with 6 superior courts, one being a hybrid circuit court, and also employ a juvenile magistrate and Title 4D commissioner. And whereas to address the growing number of cases, the Vigo County courts have established 6 problem-solving courts and have combined and shared resources and services of programs within the Vigo County court system. And whereas the Vigo County courts have utilized the assistance of a senior judge to hear the mushrooming number of Chins cases filed in juvenile court, but said senior judge's availability ended on December 31st, 2022. Whereas the juvenile court's caseload has hovered between 2.5 and 3 times the recommended caseload under the state's weighted caseload system for the last several years, and the Vigo Superior Courts believe that adding an additional court would better serve the needs of the citizens of Vigo County. Now therefore be it resolved that the Vigo County Council agrees that there is a need to add an additional court to better serve the needs of the citizens of Vigo County. supports a request of the Vigo Superior Courts to add an additional court and would reasonably consider the request of the Vigo Superior Courts to the Vigo County Council for the county portion of funding such additional court. Presented to the Vigo County Council on this 8th day of May, 2020.
So with that, as legal counsel, your recommendation is that we would take action on this now or on the sunshine meeting?
Given
Or
that
at the regular meeting, I'm sorry.
it is a resolution in support of a,
Request.
that's right. So it is not necessary to advertise this in any way. It's not binding. It indicates that you would reasonably consider any proposal if an additional court was potentially approved. So you do not need to hold off till the sunshine meeting, but if that is the council's wish, given the absence of the two members, that is perfectly fine as well.
What would be the council's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Yes.
given the circumstances of, stacked up cases in the courts, I think it would be appropriate for us to move this along as quickly as possible. I would move that we would take a vote this evening.
Is there a second?
Second that.
Motion's been made by Councilperson Wager, second by Councilperson Thied, to move forward on the resolution for adoption and all those, any questions on that motion or the, if hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Let it show that it passed unanimous of 5 in attendance, which is more than the quorum. Thank you.
One other item, I had sent an email prior to this evening's meetings to each of your county email addresses, talking about the May 28th reestablished court date for the Huerta federal court case. That is at 10 a.m. Here at the federal courthouse in Terre Haute. And there's some documents attached to that email. If you have any questions after you review those, please feel free to reach out and I'll
And
explain further.
to clarify, our presence is requested,
Your
not
presence is,
not
I would
optional,
say,
but requested.
I would not even, I'd say required.
Okay, so,
I mean, absent, we can certainly, if there are circumstances that absolutely preclude your attendance, we can certainly deal with that through Mr. Frederick and Mr. McKee. That has happened already in the matter. So if there are issues related to your attendance, certainly just let us know and we can deal with that. But absent a compelling reason, you should plan to be there.
since we all are named on the lawsuit.
You are.
Yes. Okay. Any questions for legal counsel? Thank you for getting us up to speed. I'll ask for one more time. All right, any other communication, elected officials, other officials, or agencies of the county? Okay. Reports from the committees. We do not have any reports. We have not started the budget committee process. Do you have anything you'd like to say on that as chairman?
Not at this time. I'm getting inquiries from various areas, but nothing official at this point.
Okay. Any questions? Anybody else for reports of committees? Hearing none. Number 5, resolution and ordinances other than appropriations. Number 1, resolution 2024-7, application for to declare the economic revitalization area for tax abatement for personal property, Zinc Power Terre Haute LLC, adoption of the ERA only. Mr. Felling.
Members of the council, Eddie Felling, Linden Felling Law Office here at 400 Ohio Street. It's a pleasure. Congratulations on a successful election last night. I'm here representing Zinc Power, and I'll talk a little bit about what that company is and give you an overview, again, of the abatement process. In attendance this evening, I've got Tim Penley, the CEO, as well as, and I'm going to botch his name and his title, and I might not get paid for my work here tonight. I call him Joe. That's a great way. Joe, and he's a very fancy title, Executive Vice President of everything. So he's the guy to talk to. We're here requesting a 10-year abatement on both real property and personal property for a brand-new project that Zinc's hoping to bring to the northern part of the county, just outside of the city limits next to Great Dane. They are in the process of acquiring about 20 acres there, and they want to start what is called a zinc galvanizing plant. And if you want the specifics, those are the guys to ask, but the real easy version is they do something to steel, and it makes it not rust anymore. So very important process, and it has an obvious location in that area. They currently have 3 plants in the United States, one in Texas, one in Oregon, one in Wisconsin, so this is not a new process. The one that will hopefully be coming to Terre Haute is one that's modeled off of one of the already existing plants, which makes it very easy from an engineering standpoint. And we don't anticipate any problems. We'll be going through the plat process next month in front of area plan to make sure that that parcel's subdivided and they have a good spot to hopefully break ground. The total real property improvements, so these are all really important numbers in the terms of the abatement request. $25.7 million plant itself, $21.5 million in personal property. So those are the things that go inside the plant to help it run and function. We anticipate somewhere in the range of 100 on-site construction jobs over an 18-month project. Again, they're hoping to break ground sometime later this summer and then be completed in 2025. Once completed, we anticipate 90 full-time jobs at this plant, which would include $5.4 million in annual salaries, and on top of that, an additional $600,000 in other benefits that would go to those individuals working on site. So the gist of it is this. I've explained to my clients that we're at a really awkward position in that we've been very lucky here in the county and the city both to have some pretty incredible developments happen in recent years. And this, we get kind of desensitized to projects like this when we shouldn't. Compared to our most recent projects, 50 million range doesn't seem like it's very big, but just 5 or 6 years ago, that would have been a huge project for the county. So as you consider whether or not to approve this abatement, I ask that you remember this really is a big impact on a community of our size. And I've had the benefit of working with Zinc now for several months. They are good people, Tim and Joe especially. We've spent a lot of time together trying to work out a deal to bring some good blue-collar jobs here locally to Terre Haute and to Vigo County. So to reiterate, total project, approximately $47 million, $6 million a year in salaries, 100 construction jobs. And with these abatements, one of the questions we always get, I know I always got them on the city side, listening anyway, was why are you asking for this abatement? If you don't get this abatement, will you still be here? Obvious question, and it's one that nobody likes to answer because almost always the answer is yes, it's probably going to happen with or without the abatement. The question becomes, what does that mean if they don't get the abatement or some form of a tax abatement? And you got to understand with projects of this size and with the magnitude of the taxes that are going to be involved, they've figured this in. Every single dollar has been accounted for with regard to either the project itself and what the facility is going to look like and be able to do, but also the number of employees that actually come and work on site and what those salaries and benefits look like. So what I'd say to you is there's a reason why we've asked for what we've asked for and brought to you. There's been a lot of discussions about tax abatements in general and how we come to the numbers, the terms, the lengths, the percentages. But they are within the legal means to request what they've requested and put before you. But we'd be more than happy to discuss that as we move along over the next several meetings. So on that point, just briefly on how this process will work moving forward, we have our sunshine, no vote this evening. We'll be back next week for approval of the resolution document. That does not guarantee that there will be any abatement whatsoever. We'll come back in June. Again, we'll have a sunshine meeting, no vote. But the second meeting in June would be the confirmation hearing, which is the final award of the tax abatement. What's important about that roadmap is what I would like to see happen, if there are any proposed changes, meaning if there's concerns or something that the council members would like to see, I'd like to start talking with Zink to see how we can integrate those into the documents we've proposed to you before next week's meeting. And the main reason is that these documents have to get advertised before your June meeting to meet a statutory deadline. So whatever's advertised, when we come back in June, we want to hope we have a final product for you all to vote on. Again, because they're hoping to move quickly, and with you not having a July meeting, this would cause a severe delay to the project that would cause substantial issues. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions the council may have, and we look forward to talking more over the upcoming weeks to see what we can do to get this worked out.
Yeah, so at that time, Councilman Norris.
How many of those jobs do you anticipate being fresh hires from the community versus bringing them from other locations?
Well, you know our job market right now is competitive. One of the first questions I asked these guys was, are you going to be able to fill these jobs with all of the new, you look at similar employers, Great Dane, for example, they are constantly hiring. So I think, of course, they want to hire people that are from the community, but it's going to be a matter of filling those jobs as quickly as possible. So I know they're going to have a lot of outreach. The good news is they're going to have an 18-month lead time to try and get people on board and hired in advance of the completion date. So they, again, a year and a half is a pretty good amount of time for them to analyze and put their name out there to make sure they can get these guys hired.
Mr. President,
Yes, go ahead, Councilperson Wager.
what kind of skill will these workers have to have at the hire?
They are generally lower skilled jobs, which can be taught. There's no quote unquote skilled labor for the vast majority of what happens on site. And gentlemen, correct me if I'm misstating any of that. Obviously, there'll be some higher level management positions as well. They will expect some level of training or background, but the vast majority are, I hate to call it entry level, but basic level jobs, yes.
They like line workers that,
How would you describe it?
can you come up to them? We really just want to get your face on TV.
So in our operation, it is very much a low-skilled operation, and that's kind of one of the things we bring to the city, is that we give an opportunity for some of the more of the underemployed people to have an opportunity to start making 20, 25 bucks an hour. So we believe in the family business, that we actually are a family business, founded back in 1972. They've grown from a little upstart kettle, about the size of that table up there, to what we'll be putting in here in our larger plant down in Waco. But the jobs, like I say, they're more of the low-tech skill. The high-tech skills are involved in the maintenance activities, so the maintenance men and the management system. The rest of it is guys just like, we're looking for guys who want to work hard, and reap the rewards of their hard work. So that's kind
Joe,
of
would you expect that this is a plant that wouldn't go, your work wouldn't go out of style? I mean,
No,
this
so
galvanized,
galvanizing was actually patented in the 1700s and has been in operation since. Nothing's really changed as far as the chemical process and the process of converting steel into a zinc iron alloy. What's changed is the manufacturing process. So the benefit, I've been doing this for 38 years, and I've seen nothing but resurgence and a growth in galvanizing, because it is the best opportunity to stop corrosion. Corrosion in the U.S. is $1 trillion problem. So we're constantly rebuilding bridges, rebuilding steel that is corroded. Galvanizing stops corrosion, and that's what we do. So it's tried and true. Kind of like the team we're coming in next to with Great Dane is we've seen a great movement over the last 10 years in the truck trailer bodies, going from a painted system to a galvanized system because it lasts. Hope that answers your question.
thank you, yes, exactly, thanks.
Hold on there, don't run away yet.
Yeah, I've got.
Marie
some
hasn't asked a question yet.
Oh, Actually, Joe's my spokesman. He does this better than me, but
Oh, you're doing great.
you're stuck with the
He
Texas
can come
accent.
up as well, that's fine, but,
I love the Texas.
Councilperson Thies.
This is really close to my neck of the woods. I live just probably about a mile or two from it, so I'm trying to visualize. Is it on the Great Dane property, or is it on one of the other corners? Oh, it's there. Never mind. I got a map.
It's,
not in
it's
there?
right adjacent to it.
It's adjacent to it.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
And with that, as we're looking at, it's a pretty industrial area. But as we're looking at, your process, and I apologize, I don't know a whole lot about it.
It's a hot day.
Environmentally, is there any concern
None.
to that area?
So, like I said, I've been doing this for 38 years. The reason why I changed 6 years ago from leading one of the largest galvanizing companies in North America to go with the Cobb family is they bring a different technology to the market. I can't wait to build the plant and let y'all come see what we built. It's amazing because you won't even know that it's a galvanizing operation there. There are no fumes, there's no smells. Unfortunately, there's banging because we're moving steel.
Right.
But as far as environmental concerns, all of our process tanks are 100% contained. And there's no liquid that can leave our facility. On our kettle, we have a full enclosure that captures all the fumes coming off the kettle, and we recycle those. So it's a very, very clean operation. We consider ourselves the cleanest galvanizing operation in North America and in the world.
Now, is this a continuous plating of a roll?
No,
or
it's
is
a
it-
batch
is this
process.
Batch process.
Batch
So you're
process.
doing larger steel than
Correct.
just
So
rolled steel.
the process works, where we'll take fabricated steel and we'll rack it up in a manner that it fits through the process tanks. Because it is we're a molten operation, we have to separate the steel out so that the chemicals and the zinc can get 100% around it and into it. So we separate that out. We go through a degreasing operation, remove oil, grease, and organics. Then we go into hydrochloric acid, which removes the oxides from the steel. Because the beauty of zinc is zinc reacts with iron. It won't react with iron, zinc oxide. So that's what forms that zinc iron alloy. So we've got to get back down to the base metal. So after we pickle it, remove the oxides from the steel, we'll then rinse it and then go into a zinc ammonium chloride, which is a fluxing agent. Basically puts a chlorine salt on the steel to keep it from oxidizing before we can get it to the kettle. We then immerse it in 840-degree molten zinc, wait about 3-5 minutes, depending on thickness of the steel, and we come out and we have a finished product. So then it's just a matter of repackaging for the end consumer.
The cooling stuff. I did see in the information provided, it says Great Dane dash zinc power. Is that just because it's near the Great Dane site, or is there any kind of,
The plat is going to read Great Dane Zinc Power because we're about purchasing the land from Great Dane.
okay. So
It's
that's,
right.
well, I just on this, okay.
It's
It
the
was just
whole
on a couple of
area.
documents that it was on there, so I didn't know if that's because who it was, or if you guys had some kind of financial tie with that.
No financial ties, it's completely separate from operations, but we do have an operating agreement with them.
That's fair? Yeah.
I think you already addressed this, but salary ranges, you said about 20 to 25.
Yeah, well,
is that what
typically
we're thinking?
in my current operations, and it varies a little bit from state to state, but we're typically looking at entry wages of 18 and a half and then up to $25 depending on skill sets. All the skill sets are trainable in the position. And so as the employee learns that skill set and learns different skill sets within the company, then we can constantly increase their wages accordingly.
Okay.
One thing I was really impressed with when meeting with the Economic Council was the training programs that are available in this county. I was fully blown away by that, so
Well,
I'm
and you're,
excited about that.
it's like you're reading my mind, because that's kind of where I'm going. If you were asking what we are looking for, I always, and I think it helps with your job recruitment too. Any connections you can make to our local training or facilities, including our high schools, I think would be great, especially in the north end. A lot of our industries in the south end. And so for our kids that graduate from north, I think about them and
Well,
having proximity
And that's
too.
one of the things I'm excited about this particular industry is you've seen a resurgence in young people moving toward the blue-collar skilled
Uh-huh.
positions. That's what we do, and that's the kind of opportunities we provide. To answer your question, Mr. Norris, earlier, because we look at being citizens of the community we're in, we don't bring employees in. The chances of me finding a qualified general manager, slim, but possibly, that would be the positions we'd be looking at bringing from outside. I'm looking at hiring local employees, you know, we're looking at bettering the community.
Okay, one last one, I promise.
Oh, sure.
I'm the queen of.
I'm here,
debate.
I'm here
I'm the
for- I'm here
queen
for
of
ya.
debate questions. One of the other things I always look at, especially as someone new to our community, is any kind of ways perhaps you could describe that you've engaged in your communities. You mentioned Waco and some of the others. So any kind of either engagement or things like even if you're guest speakers in like schools or anything like that, if you could
We-
mention that, that would be great.
One of the things we love doing is tours for the high school chemistry majors.
Oh, yeah, because that's, you were saying a lot of chemistry
Because
there.
that's what we are. We're one giant chemistry lab. Drives my daughter, my daughters are all grown now. Used to drive them crazy when they were young. But they're like, we never learned it. We'll never use this. Yeah, I used it today. So we love doing that. We love educating people on corrosion prevention, corrosion protection. We believe in sponsoring walkathons. We believe in sponsoring local Little League groups. So we're here for the community. We become a member because my employees are part of that.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate that.
On your page 11 of ours, you have your personal property estimation, cost analysis summary, and you've got other personal property, 6.1 million. That's a pretty good chunk. Is that for the structure itself, or what would that might be?
That would believe, without seeing the document in front of me, is probably going to be the steel moving equipment.
Okay, that's a
That's the
equipment
cranes,
that's-
the hoist, the overhead hoist.
Well, you got the cranes, and you got the kettle, and you got the jigs, and you got the steel-related, and drying oven, and bag house, but it's
Okay,
got
well, let
others.
me back up. So the 6.1 million is for forklifts and other outdoor moving equipment.
Okay, outdoor moving equipment. Okay, very good thing. I thought maybe it was for building structure or something.
No.
Thank you. Any other questions for the, Mr. Felling or the,
Just for
individuals?
correction, I'm Mr. Pendley, I'm Tim Pendley. That's Joe
Joe
Langenmeyer, so.
Feel free to ask me something, you know.
He's gotta earn his
Good
dollar
job.
Make
here.
sure they know why I'm here. And there's a quiz later on the galvanizing process. I hope you
Yeah.
were all paying
Oh,
close
yeah.
attention.
I've worked hot gal lines, so.
So I'm not
ready.
asking you then.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I was familiar if it was a continuous process or a batch, which that's how you're able to contain it. If it's continuous, it's a little harder to do that. So, and a pickling line, or pickling process as well. So. Yes, I think this is good information for what we need now, unless anybody else has any questions.
No.
And I definitely will be reaching out to you and have some conversation.
Please
before-
do, and if there's,
Yeah.
especially between now and the next meeting, if there's
Yeah.
anything at all that you have concerns about or would like to see, please let me know. I'd be happy to sit down or talk on the phone and see what we can get worked out.
And I think it's fair to say here that there's a domino effect when we give tax abatements, and we get beat up on it, and then other people want what somebody else got.
Right.
So it's a proverbial gold nugget. Everybody gets a gold nugget. Somebody's gold nugget's bigger than somebody else's. So we're trying to be fiduciaries for the county to make sure that we do it, but we want to see economic growth at the same time. So
Understood.
we appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Okay, back to the agenda. So also with the, that was on, that was the first part, was 2024-7, but it also, we talked about 2024-8 was the application for the economic, for the real property. We had, that was the personal property and the real. So anybody has the agenda wants to follow along, so that we discussed both of those. Number 3 is resolution of reallocation of existing appropriation 2024-6, local public health services. And we have a packet here that has been passed out. First, Indiana, Vigo County Health Department. Joni?
Yes, I had Todd spread out to each one of you our public health service objectives and strategies for this year, which ones we're performing strongly, which ones we're partially performing, and what our strategies and objectives are, and who we can partner with. So that's just for your reading when you can't sleep tonight. I'm Joni Wise with the Vigo County Health Department Administrator.
Amanda Fuller, Vigo County Health Department Environmental Health Supervisor.
Scott Swan, IT Director.
Okay, so we have been looking into an inspection program, and it's called Inspect2Go. Worked with the IT department, set a conference with Inspect2Go to see what this program was about. So what it will encompass is it will allow us to do our food inspections, our septic inspections, tattoo inspections, pool inspections, complaints, pretty much anything that the environmental health does, all on an iPad. And it'll go into the computer, it'll make it all electronic, paper-free, inspection-based work.
No, they already have all the iPads that have cell signal, and the Inspect2Go will be hosting it in their cloud. We won't have anything to do. First time we had them, we did have to host it locally. Now they have it set up where they're hosting it online. So we won't be buying any equipment locally that I know of. So yeah, at all.
Good.
Now, do you guys have in that, then what the cost of that service is? I mean,
Yes.
I didn't see it in the packet.
It's $35,000 for this year. We're asked for a transfer from salaries to contractual services for them to host it. But that's $35,000, and then in our 2025 budget, we're gonna write it in for
$25,000.
$25,000.
So and if you would, for everybody, I know you've invited me and I've sat in on some of these, Health First Indiana. Could you briefly give them an overview of how we got the money and what kind of money and how we got money this year and then we got money for next year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that-
come to the
part of
mic,
that's
if you will.
in the
Hey,
handout that I
Joni.
gave you for objectives and strategies.
Come back over the mic.
But,
Karen
this
wants
is-
us to be at the mic.
Came out of SEA 4 last year, and it was a bipartisan supported bill to enhance public health spending and funding in Indiana. And so counties could opt in or opt out. Of the 92 counties, only 6 opted out, with our commissioners choosing to opt in. And what we have to do is fund 40% based on, we can use 40% of the funding based on basically our regulatory work that we do, and then the other 6 can be preventative programming. And so that's where we're doing a lot of work in the jails, doing a lot of peer recovery coaching, education, and we'll also be at the meeting with the judge on the 28th in federal court. But we're fortunate to have a health department that's pretty much fully operational. And so we were able to spread the money around to other entities, whether it's with the county courts, 2 of the county courts, the county parks department, but just looking how we can enhance the health in our community and a better well-being.
Very good, thank you. I like I say, I just wanted to make sure everybody understood it. And I apologize, I should have told everybody this is on page 24 of our packet.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else you want to say, or anybody have questions on this Inspect2Go and be asking for a appropriation of $35,000? Anybody else? Okay. I didn't even prompt her on that one. That was clearly. Okay, back to the agenda. Apologize. They wrapped up quicker than I thought. So now we move on to item number 6, ordinance relating to the appropriation first reading. This is additional appropriation ordinance 2024-45 drug-free community operation expense.
Good evening, Brandon Halleck, treasurer for Drug Free Vigo County. Different hat tonight on this one. So we're a local group that's been in existence since 1989. It's based out of a state statute from the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute. And so these are drug interdiction fees. So when folks do something they shouldn't do and they go before the courts, a portion of those dollars then get sent to the county. 75% stays here, 25% goes back to CJI. And then of that 75%, we grant out to treatment, prevention, and law enforcement grants. And so we have a coalition of nearly 40 people covering a plethora of different groups here in town, from prevention, treatment, and law enforcement agencies. And so the way I do this is I wait for the collections to happen, and then I ask for the appropriations afterwards, rather than try to guess how much we're going to collect and budgeting ahead of time. So that's what I'm doing here tonight.
And that's on our page 33, and the ask is $61,154. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Holly? Very good, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to item number 2 of 6 is additional appropriation 2024-46 Parks and Recreation Contractual Services. And that's on our page 34. Mr.
Adam Grossman, Superintendent, Vigo County Parks. I lied to you last month, so I won't lie to you anymore. I had to come back.
I thought when you said that, it's way early in the
It was a pretty short follow-up, too. So, I'm not saying it no more. This one's super easy and quick. Appreciate the partnership with the Health Department, and the HFI funds are going to benefit our community greatly. We're still working through the logistics on the best way to navigate some of these funds. We have the check for the amount. We just need it appropriated to contractual services.
Yes. Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Grossman for the amount of $122,500, right?
Yep.
So we will have to take action on that next week, obviously. Yep. No questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along. So the next item is additional appropriation 2024-47, Public Health Services, Peer Recovery Coach, and School Health Liaison. And I believe that's on our page 35. And look who, Joni.
We have to withdraw that and table it until next month because I accidentally put the 1161 fund and I meant to put 1168. So it had already been
So we have
advertised.
to re-advertise.
Yep.
There was some confusion. She put one thing and I didn't glance over.
So it'll
to
have
make
to be
sure.
next month?
So
Absolutely.
So
So
we will
all
do-
apologies.
this request will be in June.
Okay,
You get to see me again in June.
very good.
She
I'm
does
not going to
still
lie
have
like
other-
Adam and say
She
you
does
won't.
still have other stuff on the agenda, so.
Yeah.
I tried to coach him on that, not to tell us that, but he was determined. Okay, the next item is additional appropriation 2024 40-48, health non-reverting purchase, AEDs and pads for pediatric use in AED storage cabinet. And that's on our page 37.
All right, so I'm Chelsea Willis. I'm the Director of Nursing at the Health Department Clinic. And that was just to have an AED readily available in the clinic and to be able to take it with us when we go out and do off-site clinics that'll have the PEDS pads, because none of the ones that are in the building have PEDS pads.
Are you gonna do a live demonstration or anything and shock somebody for us?
I mean, I can if you want to.
I'll pick them out. I'll pick them out.
Okay, all right, well, that, hopefully, well, as I know, we had one of these on and we tried to do that, and it won't shock you if you have a pulse. We tried to shock each other, but it won't let you. Just FYI. So, thank you.
Mr. President, I just want to comment on that. I've
Okay.
checked their balances on that, on those funds, and they've got plenty for this one, and the next one also has a partial out of this fund.
The non-reverting.
Yeah, and they're fine.
Okay, and that would be the additional appropriation 2024-49, health non-reverting, Health Care Act, CV 2, 93.354, and 2021 Annual Survey Fund purchase, XRF, and shipping.
Yep. Amanda Puller, Health Department, Environmental Health Supervisor.
Back.
The XRF is a machine that we use to analyze paint for lead. When we have a child that has a blood lead level of 5 or above, then we are required to go out to the home and inspect the home for lead paint or lead hazards. This machine allows us to identify paint in the home that would have lead in it. It's a very useful tool. We have probably 3 to 5 cases a month.
Really?
Yeah,
And it's been years since it had lead in paint.
yeah.
The 60s? Was it the 60s, the last of that?
Well, 1978 is the
Not as long.
timeline that we go by. And we're looking at children that are 6 and younger. So any child that's six and under, that is identified with lead, we have to go into the home and look for their hazards. And sometimes it's not just one home. It might be the parents, the grandparents' home. It might be the daycare. If a child spends 6 hours or more a week in a place, home, then we have to go into that home and check for the hazards if they're poisoned.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, hope you'll be available next week in case somebody thinks of a question that we didn't.
I
take
will.
Okay. The next one is additional appropriation 2024-50, edit special events, and it looks like it's Mr. Klinkenbeard. Are you up?
That deals with the air show, correct? Is that?
Air show, boys,
This one's the
boys
air
and
show.
girls, legal expenses, generator.
Okay, but
AEDs.
the first one,
This one is our show.
Is the air show,
okay,
25,000.
page 91.
Okay, okay.
Is the actual ordinance.
So this one is just for the event then, I'm sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
so this one is number 6, which is additional appropriation 2024-50, edit special events, which would be the air show.
Okay.
Okay, so last year, I believe the council approved $25,000 to support the air show. And we are asking for, I'm not sure how it was worded last year, but we committed $50,000 and we appropriated $25,000 last year, and we would like to appropriate another $25,000 this year. So that's what this ask is for, is $25,000 to support the air show that is coming up in about 3 weeks.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Klinkenbeard regarding the 25,000 out of this?
Mr.
Yeah, because
President.
we've gone through a few and you haven't asked any questions.
Well, I have one too.
Oh, you haven't, Becky?
We did make a commitment. Last year, we were doing Baker Tilly, and so we were trying to kind of hang on to some cash. And so, but we did make that commitment that we would put the 25 in this year.
Well, and my recollection on it when I was asked and we looked at the minutes is you guys asked for 50 and we gave you 25 last year. But I mean, that was just mine. But regardless, if you need another $25,000 and if you're asking for it out of edit, then we'll have to approve it on that. And then I'd ask Tammy if you had any money left in your budgeted items for council of the 30,000.
For the community development?
Community
Yes, we do have some funds left, but we normally get 100,000, and you cut that back to 30,000 this year, so we don't have a whole lot left there. And we would rather not take it out of there
Okay.
at this point.
And I think that helps anybody that has any questions on it, so.
Okay,
All right,
sure.
so that's what the request is for, 25,000 out of
Yes.
edit, the 1112 fund.
Is this for anything specific, or is it just to help with operational
This is just
costs?
part of a sponsorship agreement,
Okay.
which was $50,000, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So,
And I guess since you're still there, then I'll ask first, is there any other questions on the air show before we move on to the next one, which is additional appropriation 2024-51, commissioners' legal expenses?
yes, I will let Terry Modest come and address that, and then I will address the other medical equipment.
Medical equipment and?
Mr. President, members of
Yes.
the council. Terry Modisett, County Attorney. So basically, these legal expenses are for a law firm that we had to hire up in Indianapolis, Bose McKinney, concerning things that have popped up with regard to the casino negotiations. So I don't want to get into too many specifics in an open meeting about, since we have attorney-client privilege and different things, but with regard to amendments that are being negotiated to the LDA agreement, and also an escrow agreement that had to be negotiated between the casino, ourselves, and First Financial Bank. So we've had numerous Zoom meetings, different meetings, which I've been involved with also with the attorney in Indianapolis and Churchill Downs. So as you know, though, this LDA agreement's going to end up bringing somewhere estimated between $2 and $3 million a year between the county and probably some foundation that's going to be named in the LDA agreement. So that's the gist of it. So, I mean, and, you know, the firms in Indianapolis, especially ones specialized in things like this, I mean, you're talking like $875 an hour. So that's what we're dealing with.
No, and this is, I know there's been another, so they're not experts in casino and goats both, right? They're just
They are
the
not.
casino.
They are not.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Are you? No, I'm not. I know how to process goats.
If you
but
were, we need an
not
expert
the-
witness, though.
Any
questions?
Is the LDA, is that finalized, the agreement?
There was an initial LDA agreement that was finalized between the parties and actually approved by the commission. And then Churchill Downs approached the county about wanting to make some amendments. So when they did that, then now we've been negotiating some amendments on behalf of the county also.
Is Bose McKinney we're still paying them for
Yes,
that?
yes.
Dang.
Yeah, we are, I will say this much, we are fairly close now to, I think, ending this. You know how that goes when you're dealing with a number of different people, including a number of different attorneys too. But, I mean, I'm hopeful that we may have everything finalized once and for all within the next 30 days, maybe 45 days maximum. We actually had a Zoom conference today. We've got another meeting Friday, so we're getting close now. We're getting it narrowed down.
Okay, tell them we're getting antsy.
Okay, and you still have the rest of this, correct, has got to do with the,
Yeah, I assume the capital improvements was for the generator.
I assume.
Okay, so that
There's
is-
medical equipment and capital.
Yeah, we're pulling that. So the other one I have then would be for AEDs.
And this
We're-
is different than the health department's AEDs.
Correct, yes. This would be 6 AEDs, 4 for the courthouse and 2 for the annex. Ricky has been working on this. We came to find out how old these units were, and I think a couple of them probably don't work. The ones in the courthouse are 12 years old, and the ones in the annex are 18 years old. We're asking for an appropriation, I gotta clarify this, yearly of $9,000. It's a 3-year contract. And I may have messed that up, and I don't know if that affects anything, but it would only be $9,000 this year, but it would be a 3-year contract that we would need another $9,000 next year and a 3rd year. Correct, yes.
What was that, Cheryl? I'll include it in your budget. Okay,
Are you
thank
sure the county needs them up at the courthouse?
Well,
Maybe buy them for the annex first and then get theirs after 3 years. I guess that won't sell.
I
I'm just
guess
asking.
I'll let you decide that.
Asking for a friend.
So basically what this is, it would be a 3-year contract with Cintas. They would provide these, and every month they would come in and check the pads and the batteries, replace them for free. Well, not free. They would replace them as part of the contract for 3 years, and then we would own them after 3 years.
With the health, my question is, with the health department that has them and they maintain them, was there any discussion with us buying them outright instead of, I'm sure Cintas doesn't do this for their own practice. It's profitable, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
there was some discussion of buying those. The problem we get with that is just like we have ones that are 12 years old and are 18 years old, nobody checking those, nobody, keeping them up to date. The last thing we want is somebody thinking there's something that's working and they go over there, that would not be a good situation.
Valid point.
That's why we are leaning towards, we would like to go with this route.
Okay. Very good.
Do you have anything, Mike, to add?
No, that's what we ran into, that we discovered we had a problem, and we're correcting it by having them come around and check them.
I having seen those used sometimes in our buildings, where I work, I feel better if we have it tested. I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, if you're trying to go help someone and it's not working, it would be pretty awful, because it can definitely help with,
Yeah, I mean,
we
I think
save one
Ricky
person,
checked to
it's
try to
worth
see
it.
if we could get pads and batteries for these. Couldn't find anybody actually to
Yeah,
provide
no,
that. So,
it's not,
good,
yeah.
no good.
I appreciate you guys looking into that. Thank you.
okay. Any other questions on that?
We think, we all, they usually change those pads on the things about every 2 years as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Additional appropriation 2021-41, ARPA grant funds, I'm sorry. Yeah, that is the next one line, ARPA grant funds for Terre Haute Boys and Girls Club. This is one that we were going to deal with last month, but we rescheduled for this month so we could have everybody present here.
Bobby.
Good evening, council and members. I'm Bobby Moore, CEO of the Terrell Boys and Girls Club, and as I look up here with familiar faces, I know that some of your kids have participated at the Boys and Girls Club. So just want to give you a club report from the Terre Haute Boys and Girls Club. Then our board president, Dave Frederick, will give you kind of our renovation project and what we intend to do if we receive the money. First, I just want to run down some of the programs that we offer at the Terre Haute Boys and Girls Club if some of you are unfamiliar. Athletics, as you know, I know that Mr. Morris's kids have participated in basketball at the Boys and Girls Club, volleyball, flag football, and tackle football. What's new to the club over the last 2 years is our triple play. It focuses on to promote healthy lifestyles. The activities are intentionally written to build the skills, attitudes, knowledge, and behaviors essential to the overall healthy lifestyles of each individual that participates at the Boys and Girls Club. Smart Girls is a small group health program for young girls ages 6 through 18, and that focuses on education, self-esteem. Another new program at the Boys and Girls Club is Evolution to Athletics, which is a new program designed by one of our members who was the 2017 Youth of the Year for the state of Terre Haute, Indiana. And this program was created by one of our members. It teaches the young people at the Boys and Girls Club different parts of athletics, who invented them, and then takes them on a history journey over the last 20 to 30 years. Power Hour, which was one of my son's favorite. My son was the 2019 Youth of the Year at the Terre Haute Boys and Girls Club, and this program is called Power Hour. This program is Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. till 7 p.m., focused on the kids' homework. So I know the kids receive Tuesday folders, so when those kids come to the Boys and Girls Club, we check their homework in those particular folders and provide them with educational and homework help at no additional cost. Our Indiana Kids program is through the Indiana Alliance. Various programs are logged. We have different career explorations. Different leaders come into the club and give speeches about their profession and how they can become that particular leader someday. STEAM, which is a new program at the Boys and Girls Club as well. So our STEAM program was started in September 2021. We integrate science, technology, engineering, art, math activities and programming each week. So you may ask, how do the kids that participate in all these different programs? They're able to sign up for each particular program that we run every day. So if they want to participate in Power Hour, STEAM, Evolution to Athletics, Smart Girls, or Triple Play, they can participate in those. And just to give you some numbers and highlights from the programs that we offer, athletics this past year in 2023, up until December, from January 2023 to December of 2023, in athletics we had 1,273 participants. In our Triple Play program, we had 475 different participants, so not duplicated. In our Smart Girls program, we had 25 young ladies enrolled. Evolution Athletics, we had 18 members enrolled. In our Power Hour, we had 68 different students enrolled in Power Hour. In our STEAM program, we had 113 different unique participants in that particular program. You may ask, if these kids are here all day, what do we do as far as food? Well, this is very important. Our food program, during the after-school program, the Vigo County school system has been so special to us that we provide snacks every day when the kids come to school at 3 p.m., and then they receive a hot dinner at 5 p.m. So if that kid is going home at 4:30, we make a to-go box for them so that we know that each and every kid that participates at the Boys and Girls Club or at least going home with their homework being completed, and then a healthy meal to take home with them. During the summer, you may ask, well, if the kids come to your summer day camp and they stay from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., that's 10 hours a day. Do we feed them? Absolutely. We feed them a hot breakfast every day, and we feed them a hot lunch every single day. And just to share some of these numbers that's really astonishing to me, our after-school program in 2023 served 18,365 snacks. They served over 18,863 dinners. For the summer, we served 11,128 breakfasts and lunches. Our after-school program for last year, our totals was 6,986 snacks and 7,307 dinners. You may ask about community outreach. Mrs. Thies, you might have to ask that question. Well, last year, I know we were featured in the Tribune Star. The airmen and soldiers supported the Initiative Readiness Training Mission, IRT Hoosier Care, and they cared for 1,981 unique patients at the Terre Haute Boys and Girls Club. That saved over $564,000 to our community, because all of that was provided free at the Terre Haute Boys and Girls Club. So Dave will talk to you about our future expansion, but I wanted to share this last thing with you. And I wanted to share what, as far as education-wise, what this expansion will do for the club. The other key element in this project will meet and address the emotional safety and fun and friendly and safe environment for all of our kids. Emotional safety relates to how safe youth feel expressing their emotions and how confident they feel coming to the Boys and Girls Club. Some of you may not know much about the Boys and Girls Club and some of the programs that we do, but nationally, each Boys and Girls Club in America must participate in a survey that's called the National Youth Outcome Initiative, NYOI. Each and every kid that comes to the Boys and Girls Club, we set them up in our computer room from ages 7 through 15, and they take a survey. The main questions they want to know is, do they feel safe at our club? Do they get a hot meal at the club? Does their feelings matter? Do they feel recognized at the Boys and Girls Club? And does their opinions matter? Last year, on the national level, our survey was over 68%, and the state average throughout all the Boys and Girls Club of America was 62. Another one, what they asked is, did they have fun at the Boys and Girls Club? The national average was over 69%. Our Boys and Girls Club was at 72.1. So just to let you know, the Boys and Girls Club is intentionally trying to save lives of the young people that we serve. I am a Boys and Girls Club member over 50 years ago. I know, Mary, you're going to ask me my age, but I'm not going to tell you that. I grew up in the Boys and Girls Club, started at age 6, and participated in the majority of the programs that they have there. I can tell you today, our programs are safer, nicer, and education-wise than we did back then because of more technology. You have any questions?
I just want to thank you. I know the kids in our community are high needs, and I can't imagine our community without the Terre Haute Boys and Girls Clubs, even for our older high school kids that sometimes work with you and mentor the younger kids. I think most of us know that our community is very high child poverty, and to be honest, I knew some of the programs, but to hear them tonight, I'm just blown away. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Bobby's a superstar in our community. I can't say enough. So is his kid. So
thank you.
That's saying something.
And Bobby, let me say, on behalf of our ISU men's basketball team, the Terre Haute Boys and Girls Club was their favorite place to come and be with the children. They really appreciate you. Thank you for what you do.
No problem. Yeah, this past year, I failed to mention that we did hire a volleyball player, a couple of basketball players, and a couple of football players from Indiana State University to work at our location. Right now, we have 2 interviews that's set up next week with Ashton and Jess, the other part of our team, and a few of those are of the basketball team and the soccer team. So we will do our best to make sure that we hire great quality young people to support our mission. David Frederick will present to you now about some of the expansions. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a tough act to follow. Yeah.
The request that we're making is for our, I guess what I'd say is our fairly new facility at the Old Meadows Elementary School.
And the handout you're seeing there was prepared by Sanders and Associates, which is the architect for this project. Just to kind of give you a little bit of history about how we ended up at Meadows. Our main facility was at 13th and Locust, the old Chauncey Rose property. And probably about 2018 into 2019, we had started an assessment to determine what it was going to take to upgrade that facility and to renovate it to kind of get into the 21st century, especially given the age of that particular structure. That kind of coincided with Dr. Hayworth coming to the school corporation, and he sat down with us and asked us if we would go make a trip to Elkhart, Indiana, to look at what they had done was kind of a joint venture between the school corporation there and the Elkhart Boys and Girls Club, which was to put a Boys and Girls Club inside the elementary school. And so what they did, it was a joint venture where at an existing elementary school, they built a Boys and Girls Club in it to where they had shared spaces, which would be the cafeteria, the library. They built a new gym, and then the old gym basically became the Boys and Girls Club space. And that was kind of the process we were heading down to as we got to 2019 or 2020, and then COVID hit, so that put a bit of a delay on it. As we came out of COVID and we were looking at Meadows to move into that facility to do this, what they had done in Elkhart, then obviously the next round of school closings came, and we had to make a decision when Meadows was chosen to be closed, do we continue to go there or not? And the decision made in relationship to the school corporation was that we would go into that facility as to how it was going to be used. If you don't know now, I think junior achievement is in that facility. The STEM program for the school corporation is there. Union Hospital has a health program there, and we decided that even if the school was going to be closed, we still wanted to go there based on, number one, its location, number two, the condition of the property, and then number three, that given the size of that particular parcel, that would allow us to expand in the future. So that's what we have done. Right now, we have most of our programs at the Meadows Elementary site. As you've probably seen or read, we are in the process of trying to sell 13th and Locust. Hopefully that will be accomplished later this summer. So what helped prompt this renovation now is that the Lilly Foundation gave millions of dollars to Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the state of Indiana to help do different things, whether it be resource development, whether it be capital improvements, or things of that nature. And as part of a matching grant, that if we do this expansion, Eli Lilly will help contribute to that on a 3-to-1 match. And so at this point right now, we signed a contract with Strode Construction today, and they'll begin work within the next 30 days on this project. It's important to get going now because under the Lilly endowment requirements that we have, we've got to complete that by the end of the year to get the money. So what you're seeing there in the handout is basically just kind of an overview about how we're going to really convert a classroom and other facilities into what we call a modern Boys and Girls Club. So you're basically you're replacing taking off the chalkboards, replacing the ceilings, making them more user-friendly, more acoustic, more acoustically sound, and just basically creating different spaces for what we'll be talking about is we'll have a space for like 5 to 8-year-olds, and then for 8 to 12-year-olds, and then 12 to 16-year-olds. As you can see there is basically you're taking the classrooms and changing them, whether it be through the furniture or paint or flooring or things of that nature, just to make it look like what a Boys and Girls Club should in this day and age. Right now, we estimate the total expense for this project will be between $1 and $1.5 million as estimates come in, and we find out different things. But I think what we found is the IT budget is going to be over $100,000. Furniture is going to be over $100,000, and the contract with Strode is going to be between $600,000 to $800,000. So what we're asking to do is for the ARPA funds of $100,000 to help us fund this renovation and do it the way we want to. And I think that when it will finish at the end of the year, I think it will only help us increase our numbers, the number of kids that we serve, because I think if you look at our facilities now as compared to some other Boys and Girls Clubs, we're a little bit behind the curve. And I think this is really going to put us up with other clubs throughout the state and with other not-for-profits in our community. They're going to say, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to a new facility or someplace that's old? And I think with our new remodel facility, where our numbers are growing at Meadows, I think it's only going to continue to grow. It'll only grow and increase as time goes on. So at this time, I'd be glad to answer any questions about the renovation.
Any questions? I guess I have one for you. So what kind of lease agreement do you have with the school corporation?
Right now, we're in a current shared use agreement to whereas I think what's beneficial for us is that part of our problem we had at Chauncey Rose was being the owner of the building, you have to pay for the insurance. You have to pay for any of the renovations, which at that facility was quite extensive and significant and has continued to be. We have now what's called a shared lease, whereas right now it's set to terminate, I think, in June of this year. We're in negotiations for a new one. which will include a 10-year term, plus it will give us 2 10-year options after that. So the total, some of that's, I know the first term is going to be 10 years, but probably the total lease will be between 25 and 30 years, with the option being ours at each time.
Well, reason I asked that was I'm on this steering committee, and we talk about what if we get enough people, we get 7,500 people moved to the community, and we need schools again. Are we going to be able to have Meadow schools back? But the answer is no if we're in a lease agreement.
I mean, there's always a possibility that if the right circumstances to move somewhere else, that would be nice.
That's why I didn't know, because this is a pretty good investment to put into a leased property.
Yeah, and the school corporation's put significant money with the STEM program there as well, and some other things. I would think that if you'd have that kind of influx of people, I think right now Meadows is approximately a 50-year-old structure. I think that's about right. I would think that if we have that influx, I think there would probably be more new construction than renovation, be my assumption.
It had to be on the empty lot, huh?
Yeah. Well, there's a space there south, but we're hoping to use that for expansion down the road.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, the last item, but not least, salary ordinance 2025-52A, prosecutors, add the deputy prosecutor position 1. Very modest.
Mr. President, members of the council, before I get started too, even though Bobby's older than I am, I've been a member of the Boys Club 55 years ago. And he coached both my sons. Believe me, the Boys Club investment's worth it.
Very good.
It's awesome what they do up there.
Even if we don't have money for a deputy prosecutor, it's still a good investment.
Now we get to talk about gloom and doom after hearing all that good stuff that's going on with the kids. So just to give you an idea, and I think I've told most of you individually, we have an opportunity. We have an attorney that's going to be moving here. She's engaged to one of our deputy prosecutors. She's going to move here actually on July 4th weekend. She would be ready to start work August the 1st. I've already discussed with her what our pay level is, et cetera, at our office, but we don't have a position open right now for a deputy prosecutor. If you'll recall, she's told me that she's willing to accept if a position is open. As you'll recall, nationally you've read statistics and you've heard even from the state of Indiana how there's such a shortage of attorneys right now. They're hard to find. And we had 2 positions that when you graciously upped our pay a little bit, we were able to finally fill, but they were vacant for a year and a half. We still, even after the pay raise, were not flooded with applications, that type of thing. In fact, we hired the next 2 that actually were interested. If you'll recall, last year when you gave us the pay raises, we had discussed wanting an additional position too, but we kind of withdrew that because we needed to get the pay up first because we already had 2 positions open. So why ask for another one if we can't fill the 2 that we have? But just to give you an idea, in the position that ultimately we would fill would be that they would take care of, we would probably have to juggle people around in our office. The person we would hire would take a lower level position, but then we would move someone that have more experience to the position that we want to fill. And that would be that they would work on all of our high profile cases, our murder cases and things like that. As far as we've got these new pretrial orders that you're aware of that have been passed by the judges to try to move cases even faster. And so this deputy would work on those cases, make sure that things have been sent off to the state police like they're supposed to, talk to the defense attorneys early on to find out if there's going to be evidentiary issues that need to be dealt with in advance, those types of things. And to give you an idea, just for instance, in the last month, we've had 2 more homicides in this county and 6 more attempted murders. So right now, in the 17, almost 18 years that I've been the prosecutor here in this county, we have more high-profile cases and more cases like that, murder cases, attempted murder cases, than we've had since I've been in here. So the goalposts keep changing on us. So I know, you graciously gave us some raises last year, but unfortunately the caseload continues to go up. So that's what we're dealing with on our side. So we're asking you to consider granting us this deputy position. It'd be an entry-level position, so it'd be at the lowest pay level, starting out under our pay, the $80,000. No, it's the 88. I'm sorry, the $88,000. So that's what we're asking for at this point. Does anybody have any questions?
Anybody? I think.
Okay.
You
Thank
must
you.
have made it such a good opening argument that they don't have any questions.
Well, thank you.
So you're not gonna do like, I see Adam still there, you're not gonna make us a promise like Adam that you're not gonna come back and?
No, I mean, that's the way Adam is. I've had to deal with him too, so I don't have to go.
So the last item that we have is public comment. Now, with us tonight is a group of students, and we'll call them sandbaggers. They waited until the last opportunity. Why? That's what she told me to say. No, so they come and do their, come into a meeting, but you guys did wait for the last opportunity to do this, right?
No.
So
Well,
surely.
yes, but
So surely you have elected a spokesperson that wants to come up and address the council.
look, you don't have to talk. I'm going to, I know, I'm going to defend them because a couple of the kids have been heavily involved in our outstanding musical and other various activities, including academic teams.
I think
So
your mother and
therefore,
all of them.
I am. They're wonderful kids. So thanks for coming, guys.
Well,
I told you he'd be hard on you.
Well, I like at least one of them. Maybe the guy in the back, the one that sits in the back with the glasses on. Would you want to come up? and-
Wyatt. You want to say anything, Wyatt?
Come on. You gotta come up to the mic and give us your name and, oh, he's
I'm gonna
got
tell
shorts
Mr.
on.
I'm gonna tell Mr. Utterback to give you extra points, okay?
Well, I'm actually not in Mr. Utterback's class.
You're just here for fun?
Yeah, I'm just here for fun.
Oh,
So,
see, that's a true
so
mark
it's a
there.
little funny that I got called up, but it was really.
So
This
you're
is
not-
Wyatt. Go ahead and
so
say your name,
The rest
Wyatt.
of them,
Okay,
you
my
would
name's Wyatt
agree?
Butcher. Sorry.
Would you agree the rest of them are sandbagging, but you're not?
I would say that, yes. I would
Wyatt.
Good, that's way to cave, I like that. So, thank
Uh,
you for coming up, Wyatt, and, so what's your goals after you graduate?
Well, I'm accepted to Purdue Pharmacy, so in 2 years I'm hoping to go to pharmacy school there.
A drug dealer.
Yeah, professionally. So
Good.
hopefully that's my goal. Well, I guess my long-term goal, I mean.
Is
wanna
to be on council?
Well, I want to be kind of politically involved. I've been hoping to sign a deal with the Choctaw Nation to go work there as a pharmacist on their reservation, and so hopefully,
Wyatt.
because there's a mass shortage of pharmacists, especially on reservations, and that's something I'm passionate about. So that's my long-term goal.
Very good.
You
Well, thank
just
for
made my
coming.
heart happy.
Yeah.
Wyatt.
So, I just didn't want to be as easy on you guys as what Mrs. Lees is, you know. I
Yeah.
just Give you a little rougher time. So thank you for coming. Thank all of you for coming.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you.
guys.
Any other public comment?
Just a few days till
Yes,
graduation.
come on up.
No.
No, you do not. This is public comment. You
This is
do,
the first time I've been here.
if you give us your
know
name
any
and where you're
Richard
from.
Bowers,
Name and address?
Richard Bowers, 9891 East Flesher Avenue, Terre Haute, over by Sealyville.
Okay, how can we help you?
Well, it has to do with property.
Okay.
The property payments and stuff.
Okay.
In the last 3 years, my property payments went up. And I know this, I'm not very good at this.
That's, you're fine.
I know all the properties are going high.
So the assessed value.
Yeah, the assessed
And then
values.
what you get is,
The-
that not only get the assessed value,
You know,
then
the
you
last
get taxed.
2 years, my properties went up, or 3 years has went up. I'm retired. I'm on fixed income. Who makes the decisions on how my property comes up? Because I know my neighbors has bought houses for $180,000 around me. And they're selling them for $400,000. So is the property, their taxes influencing my taxes?
Yeah. So.
I mean, I haven't improved nothing on my place, and my friends the same way. I mean,
So.
my
what I-
friends, I mean, and me, I haven't improved anything. No barns, no new barns, no garages, no shops, anything. I got 20 acres. they got a half acre. They paid $400,000 for that place. And everybody's telling me it's because the people that's buying these houses like this is why my property's coming up. Why is my property, and I just got a letter in the mail, I just paid my taxes. I asked these questions last week when I come here and paid my property taxes, and they sent me to 3 windows, and I couldn't get an answer. So they told me to come down here.
One of the ones they sent you to was the assessor. And
But
I will tell you that,
I don't see how it's right, because I feel like I'm gonna be taxed right out of my own house that I plan on living there the rest of my life.
well, and I don't give marriage advice or tax advice, but I can tell you that I'm in the same boat as you are, that my taxes went up too. And some of this is dictated, we just had a meeting with the commissioner of the DLGF, and this is one of the things they address is statewide, how this impacts us. And I would say, I would like to have, after the meeting, I'd talk to you what, I think one of the things you look at is, you should be taxed a little differently if you have agriculture versus somebody that has an acre. But there is an appeal process, I'm sure they told you that as well, that you can come in front of the appeal committee about your taxes as well, right?
Yeah,
And,
well, they said that, I don't know nothing about it.
Well, and they will walk you through it, and we have tonight, not to put him on the spot, but we have the assessor here, and this is a question he gets a lot. And then, you know what just happened with inflation, right? And so that inflation impacted our taxes too.
I still just don't understand how these people are buying these houses, and it's causing my property taxes to go up because they spent $400,000 or $30,000 or
Well, they do
$300,000.
comparables. They do
And,
comparables, and when you compare that, and if somebody does sell something, I don't think a singular house would do it, but if multiple ones around you are doing that,
Yeah.
that does impact that.
But the thing is, like I said, I retired 2 years ago. Some of my friends has retired 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah, you want to,
Our income ain't coming up, but our property taxes keep coming up, and this makes me feel like you're trying to tax me out of my own property, my own house,
I do understand that.
and be living down here in the river bottoms with the rest of the people.
So,
I mean,
Mr. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. You're fortunate tonight because Kevin's here and he is the assessor, and I would take my time too and sit down with you and tell you how the process works. If that would
Okay,
help.
well, that's like I said, and what's this special unit on there? What's that? They wouldn't answer me when I was here last week.
Well,
He'll be able to talk to
well,
you about it.
well,
He's the
if you-
expert.
because
We don't know.
I don't
all
want
of
to do it publicly in front of everybody, but we can, Kevin, Cat?
I mean, I'm not saying, like I said, I don't know none of you. Someday you're gonna retire, and you're gonna be in the same boat I am.
I am retired and I am in
And-
the same boat as well, so.
I mean, when
there's a
your
couple of us
Social
up there.
Security ain't going up, 3%, then the insurance Medicare takes that away from you, and insurance, you're still stuck with what you got, but your taxes are still going up. It ain't gonna go very far.
Well, and the governor who proposed to do away with property tax, she didn't make it out of the primary, did she?
Yeah. But, no,
So,
that's
yeah,
just-
no, I get
I
that,
was
but if you wouldn't mind, I'll stay and talk with you with Mr. Gardner.
All righty.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to the meeting. Any other public comment? Adam, you want to defend yourself? Okay.
I got you, Adam.
If no other, at this time, no other actions that come in front of this council, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion to
Oh,
adjourn.
and one thing before that, I did want to thank the clerk's office for running the election process and getting the results out, and thank everybody that took their time and effort and participated in the election process. And everybody that voted. So, I needed 3 more. So all those that, is there a second on the adjournment?
Nancy seconded.
Motion made, second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Yeah.